Hello my viewer and welcome back to Kate's Crochet, and today we are working on a poncho. Yes, so this has been requested so many times, and I decided this round I'm going to do this with you. And I had already started this. I'm already somewhere, as you can see, and so I said, why not work this with you? So this color is not showing as it is. It's a very beautiful color. Maybe I link a photo of the real color of the yarn because it's very nice. It's what is it called? It's called the name is disappearing. Something green. It is a shade of it's luminous. Yeah, it's the name. It's luminous green. And yeah, so this pattern is worked in multiples of 4, and we start on the neck here. So now this one I'm doing for a 2-year-old, and I just thought to share it with you. And so for the sample that we are going to do now, I'm using this color. Yeah, this is peach. Yeah, it's peach. And so as I said, it's worked in multiples of 4, so the chain that we are going to start with should be a multiple of 4, and when you divide by 2 should also be a multiple of 4. You get that? Yeah, so this one I started with 80 chains, which we are now also working with. So when you divide 80 by 2, you get 40, and 40 is also divisible by 4. Just a simple math. So to the materials we need are yarn. Here is the yarn, a hook, a crochet hook, and I'm using 3.5 millimeters, and a stitch marker. You can have 1 or 2. So now to start, I've already done the chain. It's just a normal chain, a chain of 40, and here is mine. And so we are going to slip stitch the beginning to the point we are right now. So this is a chain of 80, and we want to slip stitch to the other end. So you go following the chain. Make sure that it is not twisted. Make sure that your chain is flat and not twisted, because once you twist, it is not going to work as it should. So at the end we are going to slip stitch. We slip stitch here, I hope you can see. Yeah, we slip stitch there, and that's it. And now we have our circle. So now from this point we are going to chain 3, and now we are going to work double crochets on each stitch. Okay, so you work double crochet on each stitch, and at the end you should have 80 double crochets, just as the number of stitches initially was. So if you started your chain with another number of chains, at the end of this row you should have the same number of chains. And I insist on make sure that your chain is a multiple of 4, and when you divide by 2 again, it's a multiple of 4, because with a poncho you have 2 sides. You have this upper part and the other side, which tends to be the front and the back. So the front and the back should be equal. That's what I mean by saying you divide by 2. So you work your double crochets until the end of this row. So I'll continue working my double crochets and I meet you when you are done on this other side. I'm at the end of the row. Sorry. So we need to slip stitch on top of the chain 3, and that is so complete. And here is how it looks. So now from this point we are going to chain 3, and just before we continue we need to double check our number of chains to make sure that it is the same number of chains that we started with, and I've already done that. Then we are going to divide this by 2. We have 80 chains, and we are going to place a stitch marker on the 40th chain, or rather the 40th stitch. So this is my 40th double crochet, and I've placed my marker there. And this pattern is completed by 2 rows. Like we work 1 row. For example, we have this row, and now we have this one, which makes the pattern complete. So now to start this, on the same stitch that where we've done our chain 3, we are going to do 2 more double crochets. So that we have 3, including the chain 3 that we did, chain 2, and in the same spot or space we make 3 double crochets. So that we have 6 double crochets in that same stitch, 3 on this side and 3 on the other side, divided by a chain 2. Alright, so now from here we are going to skip 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th we are going to do a double crochet. So this point will be the first increasing point. Yeah, this is it. And so we are not going exactly to do the additions on this point, so we will be doing it before and after. So we need to do a chain 2 immediately after this. We do a chain 2, and immediately before we close on this other side, in every row we will be doing a chain 2. Put that on your mind. So now we can skip the 3 double crochets, and on the 4th we work 1 double crochet, chain 2, on the same point 1 double crochet. Again we skip 3 double crochets, and on the 4th we do 1 double crochet, chain 2, and another 1 double crochet on the same stitch. So we are creating V's in every after we skip 3 double crochets, we form a V pattern. So now we continue doing the same. We skip 3 double crochets, and on the 4th we form a V, which is basically a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet, and we continue doing this until we get to the stitch marker. So continue doing this, and I meet you when you reach this point. So I'm one step away from the marker, so we are going to skip the 3 as we were doing. But now before we skip these ones, we are going to chain 2. Okay, you remember we chained in the beginning, so we skip. After chaining 2, we skip the 3 double crochets, and now on the stitch marker we do as we did in the beginning. So 1 double crochet, another 1 double crochet. We can remove our marker, and a 3rd double crochet. We chain 2, and in the same stitch we make 3 more double crochets. So that is 2 and 3, and that is our second increase point, which is this one, and the other one is here. All right, so now we continue. Remember I said we chain before and after, so we make a chain of 2 and we continue doing the same. We skip 3 double crochets, and on the 4th we make 1 double crochet, chain 2 and another 1 double crochet. Continue doing the same until we get to the end of this row, and I meet you when we are joining to the starting point. So I'm at the end of this row and I'm left with 3 double crochets, which are basically the ones that we were skipping. So I'm going to join to the starting point, and now before I do that I need to chain 2, and now I join to the 3rd chain of the first chain 3. So I slip stitch there, and our first row or our second row is done. So as I said, this pattern is completed by 2 rows, so we are done with the first row and we need to go to the next one so that our pattern can be complete. So we slip stitch on the next double crochet, we slip stitch on the next, and now we slip stitch also in this chain 2 space. After that we chain 3, and in the chain 2 space we are going to do 3 double crochets. We are going to do 2 more double crochets plus the chain 3 so that we can have 3, and our chain 2 and now 3 double crochets. And in this part we shall be doing all that in every row, yeah. So that is done, which resembles the one that we did before. So remember we chain 2 and now we start forming the pattern. So now we are going to skip this chain 2 of the previous row and we go direct to the V. And so now we are going to grab the first double crochet of the V from behind and we form a front post double crochet, yeah. And now when we come to the V, on that chain 2 we are going to do 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, a chain 1 and 3 more double crochets in the same chain 2 space. Alright, so we have 6 double crochets there. Again we grab the other double crochet of the V and we do the same. We do a front post double crochet, and this is how it looks, yeah. So we have the V also, but now this round we have stitches inside the V. So again we do the same, we repeat. We are going to grab this double crochet, we do a front post double crochet inside the V. We do 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Guys, sorry for the noise, I'm just beside a road and it's it's in the evening, so it's very busy, and I wanted to do this with you because I should be delivering this tomorrow. Yeah, so I chain one and I finished the 3 double crochets. Yeah, so to finish the V, we are going to do a front post on this double crochet. I just hope you can see, and the pace you can go with it. So we just continue doing this to every stitch. We work a front post on the first double crochet of the V. Inside the V, we do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and work a front post double crochet on the other double crochet of the V. So let's continue doing this until we get to our increase point, and if you can, just put a marker so that you do not forget that. So now let's continue doing this, and I meet you at that other point. So I've worked on the last V just before the shell. So remember we said we chain 2 before we work on this. So we make a chain of 2, and now we work the shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. One, 2, and 3. So now we are leaving the shell. Remember also we chain 2 and we continue doing what we were doing previously. So we work front posts on the V double crochet. We work inside the V 3 double crochets, a chain 1 and 3 double crochets, and we close that by another front post of the previous double crochet. So this is what we were doing here, and as you can see, the pattern is forming very nicely. Yeah, let me hold it like this so that you can see. Yeah, that is how it is coming up. It has a very nice folding. So just continue doing the same, and I meet you just before you slip stitch. I'm at the end of the row, and as usual we make a chain of 2 and then slip stitch. So in this row now that we are going to start, you will now notice the importance of the chain 2 that I'm insisting on. So we are going to slip stitch on the next stitch and slip stitch inside the chain. So now we chain 3 and we work 2 more double crochets inside that chain, so that we have 3, chain 2 and another 3 double crochets. This will continue being the same until we reach our required size. So now remember, chain 2, and now from the chain 2 of the previous row, so now this far one, what do I call it? Do I call it one row, though they are 2? But this is what I was talking about, that this pattern is completed by 2 rows. So far we are done doing 2 rows of this pattern. This was the first one where we were forming the V's, and now when we were actually filling the V's. So that is one set of this pattern which is complete. So now we are repeating these 2 rows until we get our required size of the poncho. So now on this row we are going to start forming the V's once again. So now our first V lies on the 2 chains of the previous row, the ones that I'm so much insisting on. So in that we do a double crochet, chain 2 and another double crochet on that same space, and there goes our first V, which is actually an increase point. If you do not do this V, the work is not going to form anything close to a poncho. It is going to be straight, and these ends are going to come, you know, I don't know if you can get that picture in your mind. So make sure that every time you are leaving and you are finishing, you are doing the chain 2. That do not forget. So now we continue in the chain 1 space that we did when we were doing this shell. We are going to do the next V. So remember, the V is a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet. We skip everything else here and we go to the next shell and we make a V in that shell, that is in the chain 1 space of the previous row. And so we just continue doing the V's until we get to the other increase point. You remember where we did our previous chain 2s. Yeah. So yeah, if you are a new member of this channel, if this is your very first time coming here, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below and share this video with your friends. Yeah. Yes, and do not do not forget your family. As in, when you see anything that is good, the closest person that you would like to share with, it's your family. So remember to share this with your family. I know, especially during this time, people are staying at home. Yeah, and we need to keep our minds busy. So now I've come to the other side of the increase. So as we increased on this side, as we did this first V, we are going also to do the same on the chain 2 of the previous row. So we do our increase by forming a V. So we increase at that point. Always remember to chain 2 before and after. So we chain 2, and now we come to the shell, and we form a shell, that is 2, 3, we chain 2 and other 3 double crochets. Yeah, chain 2 before you leave and increase on this other point. So basically we are increasing at this point and this point. So that's how our poncho will now start growing outwardly. You understand? I know you know. So we continue doing the V's until we get the other side of this row. This is just a quick one. You're just forming the V's. So we continue. This is one of the easiest ponchos or patterns that you can ever make when doing a poncho or a hat. This can as well be done on a dress, a summer dress, a summer skirt. Yeah, and it will just look so pretty. So we just continue doing this. And when we get on the other side, like we always do on this pattern, we chain 2 before we close the row, so that we start another new row. So I'm almost there, I'm actually there. So now from here I'm going to chain 2 and slip stitch, and form a V on this space. Always remember, sorry guys, we should form the V first and then increase. So we form the V first before we chain. The chain is actually before we slip stitch. So we slip stitch on the next, slip stitch on the chain 2 space and chain 3. Yeah, and you can see how the pattern is forming. You can see, yeah, I like these foldings, how it feels on touch. So now we are just now repeating this row, now filling the V's. So we do 2 double crochets to make them 3. We chain 2 and we do 3 more double crochets, chain 2 as usual, and now we start repeating this row where we did a front post double crochet. We did 3 double crochets in the V, a chain 1 and 3 double crochets, and then we close by a front post double crochet, just 1, and that V is so done. So we jump to the next V and we repeat the same thing, a front post, work 3 double crochets on the V, chain 1, 3 double crochets, on the same space, and we close by a front post double crochet, and we continue this until we get to the end of the row. You remember at the increase point at the middle, you also remember to increase on that point by chaining 2 just before and after the shell. Yeah, so basically this is what we do in this pattern, and as you can see now our poncho is already forming. Yeah, okay, if I can just align it with this one, it is already forming. So now what we need to do at this point is that we continue filling our V's. When we get to this side which we already marked, you do your chain 2s, do your shell and chain 2, and then continue doing the same process. So when you are done with that row, the next row will be now forming the V's. The next row you fill the V's, and that you continue until you have your desired length of your poncho. So this one I think I'll just finish on this, and I'll be back with my finished poncho. So far so good. See you in a few.
2,000 years later.
Welcome back. I'm back with my 2 finished ponchos, and this one I did for the number of rounds that I did, they are 40, because as I told you, one row of pattern is done by 2 rows. You understand what I mean, what I explained in the beginning as we started. So I'm back. So as you count them like this, they are 20, but in mind you have to understand that this one is done by 2 rows. So I did 40 rows for this one, and for this one I did 32, so that is 16, the number of shells here. The number of the total number of rounds, they are 32. So this is it for this pattern. My ponchos are done, though the neck is ready to be is not yet done. So I think I'm going to end this video at this point, and then stay tuned for part 2 of this, where we shall be working on the neck areas. And I think I'm going to do 2 different patterns for the neck areas. So this one is going to have, let's say, the same pattern for the body, and then the other one is going to have a different pattern for the neck. So thank you so much for viewing this to this point. I say thank you so much. Please share this video, comment down below, and if you are watching and the subscribe button is still red, please hit that subscribe button and be a subscriber to this channel. So thank you so much. God bless you and bye.